Sonoma, California. This is the 8th annual running of the NHRA Autolite Nationals, and our Western Auto qualifying field for funny car shows John Force the leader by a substantial margin, and the bottom half of the field is capped by Wyatt Radke's 544. Force continues to lead in the Winston chase, followed by Hoffman, Pendragon Etchels, and Dean Scusa, number 5. Witt astonished a lot of folks this weekend. He qualified in the number 4 spot with a great 5:24, and as we saw earlier, ran 5:20, beating Cruz Pendragon in round 1. Etchels was the number 5 qualifier at a 5:27. He also improved with a 5:26 when he beat Tony Pendragon in the first round. The Kendall in-car camera shows Tim Richards, the crew chief, for Chuck Etchels, moving him up into the proper spot on the racetrack. Final adjustment on the fast orange Dodge, driven by Whit Bazemore. Bazemore used this lane in round number 1 to run his great 5:20. Question is, it's a lot hotter now. Can he do it again? The answer has to be no. Chuck Etchels, 5:34 and no tire smoke. Whit Bazemore, 5:45, and he smoked the tires to 279 miles an hour. Bazemore had a substantial lead off the starting line, a great reaction to the green light. But unfortunately, before the 660-foot mark, which is an 1/8 of a mile down the racetrack, he was smoking the tires, and Etchels pulled ahead. No chance for recovery by Whit Bazemore. At the far end of the track, Steve's caught up with the winner.
Well, when that hand was dealt, you weren't holding very many aces, but you still won.
Well, that's what counts, Steve. Whit Bazemore gave us a great race, but Tim Richards, Medlin, Kim LaHaye, the whole crew did a great job. I mean, this heat's brutal, but the Kendall Super Orange Dodge is going to the next round.
You'd like to get out of that lane if you can.
Oh, good Lord, I hope so.
Lane choice, at least in Chuck Etchels' mind, all important. Here is Tom Hoover, the Pioneer Art of Entertainment car, against Al Hoffman. Oh, and what a camera shot that is. We're inside the race car, the Western Auto Slick 50 Pontiac, and we're looking back at Al Hoffman as he's going through the procedures. He just opened the vent hatch in the roof, actually the escape hatch, venting out some of the smoke that builds up during the long burnout. If anybody knows how to deal with the heat here at Sears Point, it is Tom Hoover. 2 years ago, believe it or not, it was even hotter than it is today, and that's when Hoover won this Autolite Nationals. Al Hoffman, though, has had a successful run at this race. He qualified in the number 2 spot with a 5:5.20, then had that unbelievable wheel-standing win over Casey Spurlock in round 1. Hoover qualified 10th with a 5:32, slowed to a 5:74 as he beat the tire-smoking Kenji Okazaki in the first stanza. Hoover's got the lane choice, though, and needless to say, his choice is the lane nearest the camera. Again, a great view of Al Hoffman sitting encased in the roll cage of the Western Auto Slick 50 Pontiac. His wife, Helen, making the final check of the car, her traditional pat to the escape hatch on the roof, and now both drivers begin to concentrate on the start. Al Hoffman using the brake to stop the tire spin. Hoover lost because he lost traction. Hoffman running a 5:27. Let's go to Steve for a recap on Pro Stock.
When it gets really, really hot, like 103 on my digital readout, you're supposed to slow down. Don't hurry. Take it easy. Well, the Pro Stock drivers are definitely heeding that advice when it comes to staging. Watch this encounter in round number 2. Jim Yates, McDonald's Pontiac, George Marnell, they pre-staged. They sat there. They sat there so long, we don't have time to show you the entire 22 seconds. Finally, Marnell was in, Yates was in, and Yates does a great job and goes to the semifinal round.
It's so hot out there and everything, and we got up there, and I've been staging first all along, and I just decided I was going to wait a little long because my lights just haven't been cutting it going in first like that. So I thought I'd try going in second, but he didn't want to go in first.
Now, on the other side of the ladder, and the fans love this, the Ford of Bob Glidden, the Oldsmobile of Warren Johnson, 2 old war horses. They had a little gamesmanship here or there. Finally, Warren moved in. Glidden really tested the patience of the starter. 5 seconds to get fully staged, and it didn't help him one bit. Warren Johnson pounded out a 7-12 to go to the semifinal round.
Bad Bobby was up to his games again, and he just got bit by it.
A 7-12, 2 more of those, and you could be celebrating.
We figured 11 or 12 would be low ET for this round. It's getting like the old hamburger, like I always say, hot and greasy out there, and just to survive these rounds is the critical part.
So in the semifinal round, it'll be Kurt Johnson and Jim Yates, a rematch of the Denver final a week ago here on ESPN. KJ won that one, and it'll be his dad, WJ, against Steve Schmidt. WJ with lane choice at that 7-12. Mac?
Steve, it may be 100 plus for you and the fans out there, but it's about 70 degrees in our broadcast booth, where we are awaiting more funny car action. Stay with us. Back at Sears Point International Raceway, I'm Dave McClelland along with Steve Evans, and we continue in round number 2 of funny car competition. Inside that cloud of smoke after the long burnout is John Force and Gary Clapshaw. John qualified number 1 at a tremendous 5:07. Ran a 5:41, beating Wyatt Radke in round number 1. Gary Clapshaw in the Fuelish Pleasure Ford Mustang, the number 8 qualifier, ran 6:34, beating Gary Dencham in the first round after qualifying with a 5:29. Also in his qualifying effort, he had some problems. A flash fire broke out. When Clapshaw had some engine problems, they hit the onboard extinguishers, got the parachutes out, and brought the Mustang to a safe stop. Now he has got the challenge of racing Force. In round number 1 against Wyatt Radke, John actually chose the right hand, or lane that is considered to be the worst here at Sears Point. When questioned by Steve Evans, he said he was experimenting. He felt he may have to run that lane sometime during the day and wanted to know what it was like. Don't think these guys don't plan ahead. As John Force now against Gary Clapshaw, the competition could be a bit tougher here for John than it was in round number 1, as Clapshaw was the number 8 qualifier. Should John win here today, it would be win number 200 for the Castrol GTX team, and would definitely be a fitting tribute to his former teammate, the late Gary Ormsby. This was his home track. Tremendous race decided in only the last few feet. John Force running a 5:36. Outdistances the 5:42 by Gary Clapshaw. Our replay will show us a good race. Reaction time advantage went to John Force, but Gary Clapshaw was not about ready to give up. Both cars stuck to the pavement well. As they headed down track, look how close it was at the middle of the course. Then it was just from the 1,000-foot mark on that John was able to pull out the win. Steve?
I can hear you pedaling.
Oh, boy. I tell you, that's probably the hardest decision to make, especially when he's right out your window. You know, we're trying to get that 200 dealer for my buddy Ormsby, and she just shook, and I said, got to do it, and I stepped off, and he moved on me, and then she hooked right up and drove right around him. So, oh, well.
Lost lane choice, though.
Well, remember, he has run the lane that nobody wants and knows what it's like over there on the right-hand side. Final pair of round number 2. A matchup of pretty much an unknown quantity in the form of Chuck Beal against one of the rising stars in funny car competition, Dean Scusa. Beal, a former alcohol racer out of San Diego, California, has only made 3 runs, not just races. I'm talking about 3 runs at NHRA national events. He qualified here on one pass, a 5:41, then ran 5:34 to upset Mark Oswald in the first round. Scusa, meantime, had qualified number 6 at a 5:27. He beat Gordy Bonnan in the first round with a 5:36. Matco Tools Quick Shine 99 Pontiac of Scusa, regarded by many as one of the up-and-comers in this points chase for the Winston Championship. He came into this event in the number 5 position and could make a move up should he win here today. Beal, as I said, had only made 3 runs in competition. He debuted this car at Topeka earlier this year, made 1 pass there, ran 5:13, lost his place on the racetrack and brushed the wall. That put him out of competition in Topeka. Here at Sears Point, he's made the 1 qualifying run and that first round victory. The Reliance Petrochem car, driven by Chuck Beal, against Dean Scusa. Scusa, the favorite in this match. You probably heard it. Dean Scusa lifting, then getting back into the throttle because he was on the verge of the loss of traction. A 5:48 win, and the dream ends for Chuck Beal of San Diego. He has to shut it off right off the starting line. Our Final Four matchup. Oh, and what a big one this is. Chuck Etchells against John Force, and Chuck has the lane choice, while Dean Scusa goes up against the hard-charging Al Hoffman. He's got the pick of lanes over Scusa. Steve?
You know, maybe you need ice skates instead of tires. It's slick out there.
It is, you know, about the 1.314 mark. I mean, this thing's just rattling, but Lance has got it set up so it's pedalable. So, yeah, we'll take it. We're ready for the next round.
Kind of puts the driver back in the race, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of day where if you're up against Force, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you might want to match up against him to say you could beat him, you know?
Well, that would be a feather in this young man's cap. Should he be able to pull that off? We'll find out in a few moments.